if we dial out, one of the surprising things in reading about you is how serious are you all right talking about mental health stuff?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Is how serious your mental health stuff over the years has been, right? Like it wasn't, the stress and strain and whatnot, but correct me if I'm wrong, like that basically you've been through periods of extreme, depression, I guess, certainly self-harm, and even I've read suicidal ideation. Was 2019, was that the worst year?
Yeah, that was a bad period, yeah.
Can you shed any light on what was going on with you at that time?
I guess I was just struggling with being who I was hard at that time, and I was like playing. I didn't feel like I could take a step back from the sport and kind of work on myself and get myself in the right headspace. I was just playing and kind of dealing with everything, and it was just it was a dark time. Like I was drinking and just I was spiraling out of control, and I was continuing to play and travel. It was a lot, yeah.
You say drinking. Whenever I've read you say like, I was drinking every day, I'm thinking, well, I'm not a professional athlete, obviously, but I like a drink. Like drinking every day, if it's a couple of glasses of wine,
20 or 30.
20 or 30 what?
Drinks.
In a night?
Easy. I drink like a fish.
What was your tipple of choice?
Anything, vodka, anything.
Right. So it wasn't just drinking, it was like fully getting loaded.
Yeah. But then just wake up and play Nadal the next day. Give him a good run for his money.
For real? Wow.
It was pretty hectic, but it was good.
If you were drinking on tour, would you have been drinking on your own?
Most of the time, yeah. Sometimes, I mean, if like another player or something wanted to, but rarely. Very rarely.
And then was there a moment when you hit bottom, or how did you come? I mean, in a sense, is it a misnomer to imagine that like you don't sort of come out of that and be like, there's not one day when you're like, I'm fine now. No,
I just needed to fix a lot of relationships in my life and just be happy again. I just hated traveling. I hated playing. I hated training. I hated just doing anything that was basically my responsibility. So yeah, it was a hard time. But yeah, I had great people around me.
They could see you were going off the deep end, or was it really because you were drinking more than usual? Because I imagine you'd always like to drink.
But just like I was like in autopilot. I was not fun to be around. I was just like, it was just I was just not me. I was just so like rude, mean, blunt. Like I was just not a nice person, and I was just downward spiral. And they just turned it around.
And then Andy Murray was someone who noticed that you had cuts on your forearms.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic.
How did that happen?
Just sharp things. Yeah, got bored, and then I guess just doing things like that, and then he noticed it, and I mean, I obviously couldn't go on centre court at Wimbledon with it, so I had to put like a sleeve on. No one noticed.
It felt at the time like that was another way of kind of relieving your stress, like it just...
No, it was horrible. I mean, I almost like kind of enjoyed feeling that way, and that's when I knew I had to get out of it.
Yeah. It's been said that it's a way of making your outside match your inside, like the sense that like
that's a good analogy.
Outer pain kind of... Yeah.
That's a good analogy.
Do you trace that back to your childhood at all?
No, my
there's no forerunner events.
No, I just felt like I didn't deal with all of the outside noise well. I always felt like I was letting people down, and I just didn't want to be like Nick Kyrgios and go train, and tennis was the head of the snake in the stress, and then it was just like I couldn't wait to get home and start just like drinking, and it's a bad lifestyle. Waking up always in autopilot, not having good like conversations, not excited for anything, not appreciating small things, just like, it was just a bad time.
And then at a certain point, you got some help, right? In fact, you were institutionalized, if I can put it that way. Did you do some residential treatment? Yeah,
I did for one day, and then I had to play Nadal the next day, so I didn't really have time up my sleeve.
So you went straight from, was it a kind of a clinic, a hospital, a kind of rehab?
Yeah, it was like that. Well, they wanted me to stay for a bit, but I was like, I have other duties that I need to fulfill. Yeah.
That's wild.
I nearly got him though. I nearly beat him.
Which was this, 2019?
Yeah.
How many sets was it?
4, 7-6 in the fourth set. Nearly had him.
That's wild. That's almost surreal.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It was a crazy time, man. I look back at it and I was like, I'm so glad I'm not at that point in my life. It was hard. It was hard. But I had good people around me.